She doesn't even go here!
I'm bi, actually.
Excuse me. Could the ugly, untalented gays please report to the principal's office?
Hi, I'm Kurt Homo, and I'll be auditioning for the role of kicker.
Hello! Welcome in, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of Not So Straight Nerds. I'm your host, Luke.
And I'm your host, Alicia.
And today we are talking about the 6th Insidious movie, Out of the Further.
Ooh.
Oh my gosh. I was very excited to hear that we were getting this movie this year.
Me too.
I didn't know what to expect from it for the longest time. It feels like it took a long time for us to get, like, that first trailer.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That trailer left an impression.
I think I was
For
very
sure.
excited going into this.
Yeah.
So, there's a little bit to discuss before we get too deep into that, though. Alicia, how are the vibes?
How are the vibes? The vibes are good. I had the sickest migraine this morning. It was horrible. And now I took some medicine and I'm good. So I'm ready to yap. Yeah, and I feel like we have, for our 2 videos that we're gonna film today, I feel like we each have, in different videos, more to talk about. I feel like for me, I have a little bit more to talk about for this movie and this episode, so I'm excited. I enjoyed it, and I enjoy this franchise, so I'm excited to talk about all the things that come with that, so, yeah. What about you?
I'm vibing. I had kind of a cleaning day yesterday, so I don't know when the last time my house was as, like, put together as it is kind of right now. Also, so sorry. We have, like, a collection of shoes right by our door.
Yeah.
And a fat-ass spider was living in one of mine. Your Honor.
Okay, well, at least you found out not by putting your foot in it.
Oh, for
you
sure.
know? It could be worse.
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
Absolutely. And, like, even if I got all the web out, I can't not picture that spider in that shoe anymore. So, goodbye, shoe.
He said, I like it in here. it's the back rooms. Like,
The back shoes.
Aw,
Yeah. So, that's a little silly goofy.
poor spider. He liked it in there.
So also we're gonna throw out spoiler warning. We are talking spoilers through this Insidious movie, but also all of them are up for grabs. So if you haven't seen any of the Insidious movies, be warned. I believe all of the other ones are probably on Max.
I don't remember. I know a while ago when I watched all of them, the only one that wasn't streaming somewhere was The Last Key. But that was like years ago, so I have no idea what they're on now. But they're all like available in some format, whether you have to rent it or you can stream it.
Surely.
So,
But yeah, you've been warned. So, Insidious. I want to start with asking, how did your relationship with this franchise start?
well, okay. Well, you know this answer, but I will give it for the audience. So I actually had my introduction into this franchise with Insidious the Red Door, the 5th movie. That was the first one that I had actually watched, solely because I'd never watched the others. And I feel like you and Abby really got me into horror. I feel like I had watched a few, but I wasn't a huge horror fan until y'all are obviously big fans of it. And I still, I have my limits, but I have definitely opened my world to a lot of really great horror movies now, this included. And so y'all were going to watch this, and I think just kind of invited me, and I was like, sure. I haven't seen the others, but what the hell.
We ball.
Yeah, I'll catch up. And it wasn't that full of a theater, so I feel like y'all had also been like, had little explanations here and there because we weren't like surrounded by people.
No, so sorry to interrupt, but
No, go
also,
ahead.
do you remember this was the theater where the kid was in the
Yes.
front row with a
Not
tablet?
kid, like newborn. I thought it was like a baby. I don't remember a tablet. I remember like a baby and the mom were sitting in the front row. The baby had no headphones, and also a baby's in the theater watching Insidious in the like. There's so many things wrong with that. So bad for their eyes, so bad for their ears, for just their well-being with the, reactions that horror movies, get from you.
And the front row?
Such a bad
The
choice.
very front row in an empty theater? What
Yes.
what are we doing?
And they did leave at some point, I remember, but it's just like, why have them, like, is this like the end all be all of horror movies where you just had to see this with your newborn? You couldn't like wait until it got on streaming, you couldn't like get a babysitter, you couldn't have like sat not in the front row, you could have gotten them headphones. Like, there's so many ways like you could have gone about this better. And I'm not trying to like parent shame, but like I think sometimes it's a little bit healthy, and I think when you're damaging your kids' ears, it's warranted. So I think it's a little crazy, but yes, that is a theater where there was a child in the front row. It's crazy. So
Indeed.
don't do that, please. But yes, otherwise it was a fun time. I feel like I, for the most part, vibed with it, even without having the full context of everything. Yeah, I had a good time. And then obviously then I watched the rest, and the only one I hadn't watched was The Last Key, because like I said, that was the only one not streaming. So I had watched most of them for the longest time until we did our rewatch recently. So yeah. What about you? When did you get into it?
Me and our friend Abby caught up right before the Red Door.
Okay.
So we binged the other 4 like
for the first time?
Yes.
Okay. That's cool.
Yes. So, and that was a blast.
Yeah.
Especially,
Sure.
there's a lot of horror movies that I think are really fun with a group setting.
Yeah.
I think horror is really great about that.
Yeah, because even if it's bad, like, you could just laugh at it together.
Yes.
So. Yeah.
And that like makes the experience better
Yeah.
than it would be alone. I love it. The power of movies.
Yeah.
But no, it's such a fun little franchise, even if it starts if it burns bright, it fades fast.
Yeah.
But they have such a unique kind of aesthetic that they build off of.
Yeah.
And they have some very fun like monster designs.
Yeah, I agree. They have some highlights even in the, worst
The lower
movies.
ones.
Yeah, the lower ones. No, I agree. And I feel like for the longest time I always mixed up that franchise, Insidious and Conjuring, just because I hadn't seen either of them, for
and
for
both
a
star
longest time.
Patrick Wilson.
Exactly. And so obviously we've made an episode on the recent Conjuring movie. So obviously we've caught up on that, and I love that franchise. Or series, whatever. And so I'm very much differentiated now between the two series, thank goodness. So yeah. Patrick Wilson, the horror movie star that you are.
James Wan, who's directed the first 2 Conjuring and the first 2 Insidious movies, he loves Patrick Wilson.
And yeah, and he should, because he does a good job in those movies.
Absolutely.
So
but yeah, overall thoughts on the franchise? I love it, even if it gets a little fatty.
it's okay. It's like I don't know. Obviously the first one's good, and then the second one's okay. Third and fourth,
And then it goes
like,
on.
they exist. But I still feel like there's a certain charm to it, kind of like you said. Like, I tried to watch through the Friday the 13th franchise, and there's a lot of those movies. And I only made it to, I think, through the third one before I kind of just gave up. And I looked, and I saw that it didn't get better, and I was like, I can't keep doing this. Because these are already, like, combined in my mind. I, like, could not tell you really a lot of differentiation. Maybe the first one, but the second and third couldn't really tell you any differences there. So, at least it's not that. I could definitely tell you the differences between each of these movies. Something to be said there.
For sure. No, whenever I was going through some of those early horror movies, especially Friday the 13th, I remember thinking, wow, and people complain about how today, like, there are unnecessary sequels that are soulless and just cash grabs.
Yeah.
And then I watch Friday the 13th 7, and I'm like, guys, Hollywood was always like this. You guys are just
Yeah.
pretending like it wasn't.
Yeah, absolutely. There was just, less of these movies being made. And so, now there's obviously a much larger production of them. So it's just a higher amount. There was always movies like this and trends like this. So
Crazy.
it's okay.
Um, circling back to Insidious.
Yes.
Let's maybe talk a little on that first one,
Okay.
since I think we are all here in agreement that that's the best one before this one, at least.
Yeah, at least before this one. I think most people would agree, and maybe even after this one, but we'll get there.
Surely.
That a lot of people would consider the original the best. I think they found a good little duo here with the parents, and then obviously like Elaine is amazing.
Elaine is incredible.
Absolutely, she is like the heart of this franchise. Absolutely. And I feel like I want to see her in more stuff, like maybe stuff she's already been in. I don't know. I need to look. I have no idea if she's been in anything else and what that looks like.
Mm-hmm.
But I would be interested to see what she has done outside of this, just because I do really like her in these movies, and especially the first one. She's just very compelling, and I even think her two, like the two guys that work with her, I think they're very fun too. They have like a weird charm to them.
Mm-hmm. As a trio,
Yeah.
they're so fun.
Absolutely. They're almost giving like a like a little Scooby-Doo gang, like little mystery gang. So I'd be interested if maybe they ever want to do like a show to explore that, just their little trio. That could be fun. Because I don't know how early they worked together.
Well, you see them meet for the first time in chapter 3, and then between 3 and the last key is where you have like your biggest break, I believe. And then 4 ends with getting the phone call of her going back into the first one.
Okay. Yeah. It'd be nice if they worked together like much earlier, because then you could have like a younger cast and like have a whole show about that. But or maybe you could just retcon it, just do it anyways. I don't know. Who would really care that much? Yeah. But anyways, especially since like we just mentioned Friday the 13th, Crystal Lake is getting a show, and that seems to be kind of its own thing. So who cares? But yeah, that first one is definitely iconic. It's not perfect. It definitely has its moments. But I always come back to that shot where we see like the bad guy or villain or whatever you want to call it for the first time behind Patrick Wilson's head. That is such a great shot. I always think of that shot, and I think it holds up very well even nowadays. And I feel like it's one of the few cases where everyone always says, why do these people always stay in their houses, especially when it's set in the past where the housing market isn't as bad as like modern times. Yeah, I get it. But I love all the jokes where it's like, this would never happen in modern times because no one can afford a home. But anyways, everyone always asks, why don't they just move? And I think this is one of the few cases where they do, and it still doesn't work out for them. And I think that's pretty genius. It kind of sets them apart a little bit, and it helps it hold up even nowadays. So
Absolutely. What I really love about especially these first 2 films is this and the Conjuring franchise does like the haunting build up in a house really well.
yeah.
I think it's really fun to just like see the things in the house and kind of experiencing that with your character. And it's like it starts small, and it's like stuff that you can relate to, like thinking you hear something, or like seeing things out of the corner of your eyes. I feel like as the franchise went on, they veered away from the like casual haunting and like the progression of that, which I think is a bummer, because I think it makes this first movie really pop.
I think
Yeah,
that makes a lot of horror movies really great, when whatever their concept is, when they're able to like almost hide their bad guy as much as possible, as long as possible. I think that helps build up the mystery of it. Obviously you still have to have something compelling that's happening, but you know, a lot of those like house haunting things, you can have weird things moving and turning on, weird occurrences, but then you know, save your actual physical like bad guy until maybe the third act, and then things get crazy. I think that's always been a great formula that still holds up anytime it's done nowadays, depending on your concept. Like I think of Obsession when I think that, and it's like that's a much different concept, where obviously like then you're seeing the effects of what's happening. You don't really have like a physical bad guy, it's just like a bad thing that is happening. So kind of depends. If you have an actual bad guy, then usually it helps to save it for later, which I think we'll talk about, something that I do want to talk about with this new movie, because
Truly.
they don't do that so necessarily. They do it. They
A little
reveal it a little early, but anyways, we'll get there.
One last thing I want to mention about what I think makes this first movie super unique in its foundation that they try to carry into the other movies is I love when they go into the further and then they start doing like the time stuff where it's like it cuts back to other scenes and it's, you know, the guy, it's like Patrick Wilson's character doing all of the things of like he like was haunting himself.
Yeah.
I think that is so cool.
Yeah. Again, they do that in this movie with like her closing the door. I also really love anytime that happens. I love, was it 3 or 4? Probably 4 based off what you were talking about, where then Elaine, yes, because that's when Elaine sees Dalton, and then when she gets the phone call, she knows his name. I love that. I love anytime anything like that happens. Very, very cool.
Yeah.
It's the whole also like final destination of it all, number 5 leading right into number 1. That's such a great reveal. So yeah, very cool.
Indeed. Alrighty. So what were your expectations going into Insidious Out of the Further?
You know, I was excited, but I think for a long time, I guess I didn't really know what it was going to do. Like, I feel like I needed that rewatch. And then kind of realizing this really was going to be pretty disconnected from everything else. They weren't bringing back the original people. Like, their chapter really did, like, close in number 5, The Red Door. So I was excited to see what the new people were going to do, what the new story was, and kind of how they were going to expand the lore, because I mean it's called Out of the Further, and so it seemed like they were going to do something more with the Further and like her having this ability. It seemed like they were already setting up for something different than just simply someone being able to go into the Further, because we've seen that plenty of times before. And then I knew we were going to be, some creepy scenes were in store for us just because of that tinta scene. I still could not watch that in the trailer. Like, I saw it for the first time and it creeped me out so much. I was just like this. Any other time, like, covered my eyes. Every other time we watched that. So, anyway, yeah, I was excited. Yeah. And then that Rotten Tomato score also made me very excited for sure. It's like one of, if not the best. I don't know how
It's gone back and
fluctuated.
forth between the highest and the second highest.
Okay. So, cool.
Absolutely. I was very excited. I thought the trailer looked very compelling. We got to see my girl Elise come back. Yeah, I was very optimistic. And the scenes, like the pillow... Elise.
Elaine or Elise? Have I been calling her the wrong thing this whole time?
I don't think so. But you'll know before we do.
It's okay.
No, because Elaine is Conjuring.
Yes. See, I do still get some things mixed up, like names, but anyways.
No. But no, like the pillow fort scene, Your Honor, terrifying.
Yes, that in the trailer as well.
Oh.
Yeah.
Really funny that came out so close to the back rooms.
Yeah, it was kind of given the back rooms for sure. That's truly terrifying. But, you know, you have some questions with that. It's like, why not just come back out where you came from? And I do think they handled that really well in the movie. Obviously, like in the movie when they have that scene she turns around and it's the entrance is and exit's no longer there, and then I'm like, just like push your way out or whatever, and she can't. She does try that, and I love when they like answer those kind of more obvious questions that the audience is gonna have. They're like, see, there really is no way out, and that's what makes it terrifying. If you leave that open, then the audience is always gonna wonder, was there a way out? And she just didn't try that. So it's like the house thing. It's like, why don't you just move? And the first movie's like, well, they did, and they still can't get out. So love when that happens.
Indeed.
Anyways.
So yeah, expectations were fairly high.
Yeah.
Maybe a little reserved given some of the track record of this franchise. But maybe this is a good place to put this. The internet is pretty against the Red Door overall.
Oh.
And I am aggressively pro the Red Door.
I mean,
Maybe not aggressively. It's not the first movie.
Yeah.
But to me, it's like a very clear second place.
I agree with that. That is definitely my thoughts as well. Before and after watching the entire franchise, I watched that one first and then watched most of the rest, and then now we watched the whole thing in proper order. And I still stand by what I rated it, and that is definitely a clear second from everything else. It's 3 out of 5 stars. So is it like glowing? No. I think overall they do some good things. It just needed maybe some tweaking here and there, but
yeah.
that
So,
surprises me.
but needless to say, I was pretty unworried going into this next one. I think I just enjoy this franchise more than I guess the general audience does.
Yeah.
So I was very excited, and they had, I think, some very interesting and unique scares and like scenes set up. So very, very excited.
Yeah.
Overall, I thought this was a very good movie.
I thought so too. I do feel like I have some problems with Act 3 that we'll get into. So, and then I don't want to like completely spoil my ranking yet. But I do think this is not a perfect movie by any means, but I do think it is definitely one of the better ones of the franchise for sure. Not that that's like super, super high bar, but pretty solid. I think it's worth a watch if you're wondering whether you should go see it in theaters. I think you should. Yeah. Let's break it down. Let's break it down to why.
So let's start best parts. You said you loved the first half of this movie?
I would say about the first half. I don't know exactly. Like I don't always remember to check my time. Sometimes I do feel like a vibe shift, and I look at the time and I'm like, okay, mark that this is like 3/4 of the way or whatever. But this one I didn't quite remember to do that. I just felt like it felt like the first half. Some highlights. I think the first half did a good job at kind of something I talked about earlier, where they saved their main like face reveal of the bad guy pretty far into the movie. Not as far as I think maybe they should have, and that's what I have, maybe some questions about with Act 3. But the first half, they had a lot of good sequences. Like I think the opening sequence of the little girl and her mom was very creepy. That's very terrifying. I felt like almost immediately so bad for this little girl, because you could tell she's so responsible. She's doing well. They do well to like immediately establish she's a very good student, but her home life, she may have a nice house and everything, but she's taking care of it. Her mom's like all but absent. And then we see her kind of sneaking around and being quiet, and so we get the sense almost immediately that her mom might be also abusive or scary or something along those lines. And then the mom shows up and mentions like dinner and something else, maybe something about school, and the daughter in both cases is like, I already did that, it's already done. And the mom just goes away, and then she follows them out. The whole sequence of everything leading up to her mom getting worse and worse in that one night, to then going to the bathroom and her daughter like seeing the start of her bashing her head against a wall is crazy. I don't want to be too graphic with it, especially not in a podcast thing.
And the watch
Um,
me.
Oh my gosh, yes, because she said that multiple times, but then the shower, and I think they revisit that very, very well later. We will get to that, and that is in Act 3, and I think that's a highlight of that. But I think that whole sequence was a great way to start the movie. It was very, very compelling and kind of hooked you right off the bat. Yeah, I think that's one of the highlights. Any other things about that sequence?
No, I thought it was super cool. I think when you kind of see the parallels later, it lays a good foundation.
Yes, absolutely. The second one, and I don't remember if I'm getting the right order, but I think the next big highlight was the pillow fort. I think that's before the dentist scene. I believe.
Yes, I believe so as well.
The pillow fort was so, like, all of us had our earplugs, like, we were ready the entire time. It's such a long sequence. I also really love when horror movies, like, there's a jump scare coming. I'm not against jump scares, but I love when they're used better. And in this case, I do think for the most part they were used well, where you kind of didn't know when they were coming. They didn't happen always in the most obvious spot.
No, I think there's an art to having a jump scare be like a useful tool in your horror movie.
Yeah.
I think when nothing, like you're having a conversation and then suddenly it's just at you. I think that's cheap. I think that's lazy.
Yeah.
I think there's very few times where I think that helps your movie in any capacity. But I think like this movie, it like builds suspense and you're like waiting for something to happen.
Yes.
And then it eventually gets there.
Yeah.
I think that is a good jump scare.
Yeah, because like anyone's gonna jump if there's just a random burst of sound out of nowhere. Like that's just a natural body reaction, natural instinct. But I think I agree. This movie does a good job building that suspense to where when it actually happens, you're already scared, and then it actually happens. And I feel like in multiple scenarios, it sits in that really well. Like in the pillow fort. One of my favorite parts was when she is able to like squeeze between the cushions. That entire thing, first of all, is giving back rooms so much. The entire sequence, but definitely that one. And then when there's like a face that's revealed, they sit in that. They don't like jump scare and then like pan away or whatever. Like you sit in that stare. It's so creepy. Love how they did that entire thing.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
They loved to sit on those the shots of those old people.
Great casting. Terrifying.
Truly.
10 out of 10.
If I saw you walk in my sidewalks, I'd be like calling the realtor.
No, I'd be like, look into some other houses. She was like attached to that house.
No kidding.
But I do feel like, I wouldn't have done that if I had those kind of memories. But I could see where she was coming from with that. So I do feel like it made sense of why she was holding on to that so much. And I think, again, with what's revealed later, I think that's a good choice. And then it leads to when the house is gone, that's very, very emotional. It's not just like, it is giving WandaVision in that scene and like very much like Marvel, like, yeah, I did this. But I do think it has some emotion too that helps that scene not be so like, yeah, I'm like a superhero. Anyways, but yeah, I liked that sequence. And then the other one that you definitely wanted to talk about, but was also one of my highlights, at least for being like very unsettling and scary, was the dentist scene. I feel like that entire thing was horrible. 0 out of 10 to watch. But well done in what it was trying to do.
I feel like I've not seen a horror movie lean into the fear of the dentist office before.
Yeah.
And if I'm being honest, I've never, as a kid who grew up with some messed up teeth, like, I never found the dentist to be all that scary.
I don't find the dentist scary. I just find it uncomfortable. Like, I hate all the sounds. Everything's like your teeth are cold. It's just, I just find it a very uncomfortable experience. I hate going. I still do because obviously it's very important, but I do kind of dread going.
But I know, but out there's a fairly prominent premise of like a fear of the dentist.
Yes, absolutely.
It honestly feels a little weird. I haven't seen that like be tapped into
Yeah.
until now.
Ugh. Especially when she knows the guy, and so that's creepy. I can't believe she didn't even like ask to switch with anybody. You know, it's one thing if she asked and like everyone else was busy, but she didn't even like she was way too polite for me. So many things where I'd be like, I'm out. Good to know. I already knew this, but like good to be like confirmed that I would never want to be a dentist. Ugh. Anyways.
No, oh my gosh. I like don't have to look away from horror movies like ever. The scenes where she was just like cleaning the teeth, I was like, I can't watch this. Give me a disembowelment, give me a decapitation, give me whatever the hell was happening in Together. I can't watch this. This is disgusting.
No, that's like me with body horror though. It's like it's worse. It's like worse than being scary. It's just gross.
Dude. Ugh. The Substance had nothing on casual teeth cleaning. What are we doing?
No, that
Jail.
was so gross. But it led into that scene where she did the x-rays and it's revealed that he had like multiple rows of teeth.
And they like kept
really
getting closer
cool.
and closer to the front.
Yes.
That was fun.
Oh, that's so cool. But then after that, she knows that, and now keeps sticking her hand in his mouth, and I'm like, girl, at a certain point, you're dumb. Like, you need to stop doing this. And then I loved that scene where he bites her, and we see this happen in the trailer, so we knew this was coming. But I love that she like backs up, hits her head, like that whole thing I thought was really well done. And then she's in the further. And then there's the guy with like the thing in his mouth, and it's like, I can't even. I don't want to describe it too much. It's very gross, but like very effective.
Dude, the girl with the box of teeth. Ugh.
Yeah.
The Further, I don't think has been this like interesting since the first movie.
Yeah, I agree. That's one of my other highlights was just all the lore that they added to the Further. I thought was very interesting in this movie. They add a completely new concept, at least from what I'm remembering, where I forgot what term they call her, what name
A
they call
traveler.
her. Yes. Where she can like bring things back and forth, physical objects or even people. And that is so cool. I feel like that lore makes sense to add, and I don't know. I think she does a good job.
It makes sense to add, and then I think it makes sense why that would be such a big deal, and then it like makes sense why that would be its own movie.
Yes, absolutely. And I do feel like they spend a good amount of time in that. For some reason, that reminded me of like the whole like Star Wars sequel thing. Like they added so much lore that I think would actually be really cool if some of it had more time to be explored. I think that's a big complaint with those, and I feel like they explore it pretty well in this movie and for long enough. Like it could still be added to, but they still, I think, took their time with it in this movie, which is cool.
Sure.
Yeah. And then that kind of leads into one of the last highlights I can remember. Well, maybe I have a couple more, but that leads into her finding out about her mother and the truth of what happened that night and seeing it from her lens. I love the reveal that it's not her memories, because she's saying, I've already seen this, and it's like, it's your mom's memories, and that she was basically just being possessed and corrupted. It wasn't really her. And the watch me was in response to the bad guy, and she was actually talking to the bad guy, not her daughter, and she was trying to defeat that guy by taking her life instead of just doing it.
Well, and she was creating the red door that he was locked in.
Ugh,
Ate that.
so creepy. Yeah, I thought that entire thing was very well done. And then that they find out because of that that means it's inherited, and so then that's the reveal of her daughter. The only thing I had a problem with that is that I guess my stomach's going crazy. I'm so hungry right now, anyways. Only thing I had a problem with that is I do feel like that was maybe a little bit rushed. Like, the daughter was so young, and so I guess I had more questions of like, oh, so this is something you're always capable of. I guess I just feel like at a certain age it's unlocked for certain people. I guess it makes sense because like Dalton was pretty young when he was capable of certain things. I don't know.
Well, you see, like in that first scene, you find out that she actually moved the flashlight herself into the further.
Yeah.
So like that's, you see that they're able to do that pretty young. You just don't understand until later what happened,
Yeah.
which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
But no, I agree. Whenever they do the whole, oh my gosh, he's going after the daughter, and then the picture on the wall of the mom falls down, and then there's the picture of the little girl, and I'm like, and you know what? Someone thought they ate with that, but no,
I didn't like that. Yeah. No, I agree.
What a great metaphor for like rushing to do something else with your third act.
I know. That's kind of my problem is you had such a great foundation. You were building towards something great. And then it felt like, oh, now we're doing this. All right, you shocked? And I'm like, I didn't need to be shocked. I liked what was happening.
And I don't know if they wanted to do this and like the aim of like going for the youngest of the line now or whatever. I don't know. I feel like it doesn't hit as hard if you don't see more of her experience of being haunted and being like worn down.
Yeah, like they talked about that. They said they were also in what was happening to me wearing her down, but it was just kind of with the bad memories of it all. Like, but they couldn't have done that with you, like when you were young either. I don't know. I just felt like it was rushed. I didn't necessarily hate like the concept of it happening, but I felt like the concept was being rushed.
I completely agree.
Kind of thrown in last minute to just throw you off. See, plot twist. Like, okay. Sure.
For sure. I also want to give a shout out to our big baddie Cyrus.
Mhm.
What a fun design! The whole like the blindfold and the long hair,
The nail.
the weird pointy ring talon thing. His voice, dude. Afterwards, I had to look up. I don't know if maybe they voiced him over, but he sounds so much like Patrick Wilson. Oh, every time he hits the stay.
Creepy.
Whoa, chills.
Yeah.
Chills.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay, I will.
If you say so. No, and I actually feel like they show his face probably as quickly as they start showing the red demon face in the first movie. You just don't really
Probably.
know what exactly you're looking at. I think very similar to the red face demon. I think like you see whenever she's in the dentist chair, she like looks up, and I think that's when we see him for the first time. And then the next time we see his face is on the TV screen, and it's like when he was alive. And dude, having him be like a cult leader was very fun.
And it makes sense. Like is still one in the further. So.
No, and I want to talk about. We talked a little bit about them, but having the living people going
the
into
acolytes.
yes, so terrifying.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Very creepy. And that's another lore piece. Well, now there's like probably more out there that we don't even know of.
And the idea that they can do it for evil.
Yeah.
Oh, every time that their
Crazy.
faces were just like staring in the further, like when they were in the coats, when they were like looking down the pillow fort. Dude, terrifying.
Crazy.
Y'all ate that. I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
Ugh.
The only other thing that I had to shout out that I can remember is the one actress that we recognized as
Yes.
Rebecca from the originals. It's like a different Rebecca, if you know what I
Yeah.
mean. You probably know what I mean if you've watched that show. Anyways, I won't say anything more on that. But that was so fun. I like immediately recognized her. I feel like I remember seeing her in a trailer and thinking about that. But then in the movie, I was like, Cole, that's Rebecca. He was like, right. And then you were like, right. And I'm like,
In her first scene,
so happy for her.
maybe a little bit of spoilers for the originals, but the first scene that she has in this movie is having Elise jump in her body, and I'm like, this actress can never stay the same character. Like,
She always has to be like,
she always has to
body
be a
jumps,
vessel.
basically.
What are we
Yeah,
doing here?
exactly.
No, that's so funny.
I miss her like accent though. I miss her like British accent. I now wanna know like which
Which she
accent is real. Yeah.
But, and I'll say on a similar note, this whole movie feels kind of very The Vampire Diaries coded.
I want to know what you mean by that.
Well, with the whole the further and the other side, what do they call it? The other side.
The other side, yeah.
And like Bonnie's kind of like the anchor of that for a while, and is like the, hey, you have to go through me to get there. It feels very much in the same vein of that.
Yeah.
And you
Actually, would have been cool if maybe they explored the other side a little bit. A little bit more of,
Cyrus,
like-
Silas.
Yeah. No, yeah, I agree. Yeah. Good shout out.
But and
But-
lastly, with the third act, the house being completely torn apart by all of these crazy spirits.
Crazy.
Shout out to all of our baddies from the other movies. Hey.
Yeah.
Whenever crazy bride lady comes through and she hits the little girl with the, I'm gonna strangle ya. And then Cyrus is like, no. And she's like,
No.
dude, that was so funny. He said, I need you to lock in.
Mm-hmm. And then you shouted her out from the trailer, but here, anytime she appears, the girl with the shotgun is always like so creepy.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
She's scary.
I love the time where I think she's about to shoot somebody and then they say like no and she like frowns. She's like,
Mhm.
dang it. Yeah. No, I always really liked her. Anytime she popped up. She popped up a few times and was always very fun.
Mm-hmm.
And then just shout out to the actress, the Rebecca actress, whatever. I don't know her name, or her character's name. Sorry, but her like hair was so cool. I loved like the colors, the tattoos. Always practicing on the grapefruits, and then the whole like, oh my gosh, it was very like Stranger Things coded when they did the whole plan with the grapefruits. That's so like Stranger Things coded. But very fun. Like that's a highlight and a compliment for sure. And then Elise being here as well was always very fun. Of course, I love seeing her. I love now seeing her just in the further. It's not only sad, but I still think it's fun anytime she pops up and it's just like whipping everybody into shape basically. She's like, I'll help you, I'll guide you, and then I'll smack people with the lantern.
Yeah.
If they're acting out. So
So you're thinking of the character is Claire, played by Macy's Richardson Sellers.
Cool.
But also, this reminds me, I love seeing Brandon Perea in anything. He's the officer boyfriend type.
Mm-hmm. Where do I know him from?
He's in Nope. He's the camera guy.
Yes. Feel like I remember this. I had felt like he had a similar vibe.
Twisters. Yeah, he's such a fun energy. Seeing him in like a movie every other summer, I'm like, hey, I know that guy. I love that guy.
Yeah. It's so funny.
No, he's fun here.
I loved that with the one old guy. He just kept tasing him. He's like, it was so funny after a certain point.
No, absolutely.
What a real one. Representation of what every officer should aspire to be.
I heard in the middle of the theater, I just hear you whisper to Cole, this is propaganda.
No, I'm like, would be nice, right?
Anyways, maybe switching over to worst parts. Well, on the same subject of Brendan Pereira's character, Nick,
Oh, gosh.
I will say, going over there being like, hey, wellness check, where's the person who lives in this house?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's probably more that could have been done here.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because whatever they're like putting in their system, they were like, well, they can just jump in the further if they're in jail. But it's like, if it's not oxygen in that tank.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't
Something
give them
knocking
that
them out.
tank
Yeah.
if they were in the jail.
Yeah.
So, like, maybe just put them in jail.
Yeah. There's people living in that house that shouldn't be. And so I feel like that's reason enough for, like, a warrant at best. And then you find they're, like, essentially drugs, like, whatever you want to call it, essentially. Is that, like, legal? I feel like it's
Well, regardless
probably
of that,
not.
the bodies are in the attic.
Yeah. So then just arrest them and throw them in jail. I agree with that. And, I mean, obviously in that scene, he's just distracting them. But I'm like, I mean, you could also just send them to jail. And then they're not in the house. I did like the reveal, though, that she still got caught. But not by them. Like, by Cyrus. It was very cool.
No, when he starts talking on the TV, it was scary.
Oh, terrifying. But also, just unplug that TV.
Mm.
I'm sure it still would have worked.
Yeah,
but,
right,
I mean,
right.
it would have been funny to see her try at least. I don't know.
No. Other con, we talked about how we think the switch to the daughter felt very rushed and kind of sloppy.
Mm-hmm.
What else you got?
Just the third act, I do feel like, I agree that Cyrus probably showed his face around the same time as the red demon, whatever you call his name, in the first movie, but then we see his face a lot more. Like, he has so many lines. Like, the red demon, I don't think he has, like, a single line.
He doesn't talk.
Yeah.
He just goes, rah.
Yeah, we just see his face that one time, and then he shows up again when he finds Dalton. And then he's, like, following them. But he's a very, like, quiet presence versus here. This is, like, a full, like, character. And I do think that makes a difference. I think that took a little bit of the scariness away. It almost felt... I don't know. It almost felt less scary. I don't know. It kind of frustrates me, like, you're being hunted and haunted or whatever. Like, bring more weapons with you. I don't know. Like, be more prepared to fight these demons. And I don't know. It made me, like, mad how many people they were able to, like, take through the daughter before they were able to catch up with her. It's like, what is it, Claire, just, like, hid in that room where all these people were, like, piling up in the bodies. I'm like, I don't know, if you got there early enough with, like, a gun or something, you could just, like...
Well, guns didn't work.
Know. Well, yeah.
Because Nate showed up.
But they didn't even, like, try. I don't know. They just let them pile up very quickly before they started to now fight them. And it's like... I don't know. They just could have fought them a little earlier, or at least tried.
No, it's whenever the mom is Gemma, daughter is...
I know, and then Gemma's mom is Ingrid. I don't remember the daughter's name. Maya?
Maya,
I think it's Maya,
yes.
yeah.
Whenever she's, like, hiding with the dog in the closet, and he's like, where is she? That's where I think you kind of lose the thread a little.
Yeah.
And then the whole thing of, like, seeing the dog outside is like, wait a minute. If you're the dog, then who's in my lap? That was crazy.
Yeah, I thought it was, like, funny, but then it's like... Now
it's a very
now
unserious moment
yeah.
in a otherwise pretty serious movie.
Yeah, it's like, now you're a silly villain, and not as scary anymore. The second you, like, make me laugh, I feel like you're not scary anymore, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Now you're just a crazy little psychopath.
Like, I don't know. There's, like, versions of that I think would be scary. Like, if it was a doll instead of a dog. Or, like, the idea that you're holding, or like, I don't know. I feel like there's versions of what they were trying to do with that scene that works, and I feel like it being a dog that gets traded places with is an uphill battle to make it not hilarious.
Yeah. I don't know. And she was like breathing pretty heavy too, and I'm like, you don't hear that? You're like a supernatural being. You don't hear that right now? Okay.
Other issues? Question?
You know, I said the end of this movie was pretty WandaVision coded, and while that works really well in WandaVision because it's a superhero genre, you're expecting that. You're expecting some cool moments. This is a horror movie. And so the whole like, oh yeah, you brought a TV back with you. Now let's bring back like 50 people and an entire house. Big jump. And to the point where it's like almost laughable that she's able to do that. And again, this is a horror movie, not a superhero movie. And so when it feels like almost an Avengers, like, oh, I'm Tony Stark, here's the snap, like, this is not the genre for that kind of vibe.
I feel like it really loses itself when it gets to, and if we don't stop this, like, the world is over. Like,
Yeah.
the
It's
moment they start
very-
leaning up to that, it's like, is that where we want to go with this franchise? It's
Yeah.
it's an interesting choice.
I don't know. It's kind of crazy.
Remember when this was a franchise about a kid who fell into a coma?
Now it's, we have to like come together.
Elise, I need you to distract you.
No, actually, that's what it's giving. It's giving superhero, and that works within the superhero genre and not here. And you just lose me a little bit. I'm not taking you as seriously anymore. And you were doing so well until this point, and it's just, I don't know. It doesn't work for me as much anymore. But oh well. That's really it. It's not like a huge complaint. It just like loses its quality and changes its vibe in the third act, maybe a little before. So that's all. It's not like
I don't
horrible.
know.
It's still entertaining what's happening. It could be worse. It could be boring. It's certainly not boring. But, you know, it's just, it's like they didn't really know how to wrap up this movie or how to, like, find their big climax and, you know, resolve
Because
it.
also, truly, to that point, every ghost is just chilling in that house for no
Yeah.
reason up to that point.
It's like, leave the house. Why are y'all not, like, running away immediately?
Why, sir, why are you digging for that rat in the wall? Like,
And also, you know, oh, another thing I actually just thought of. Well, I mean, I guess she did pass out. Anyways, they're talking about when the daughter's being used to have people pass through her, how it's killing her, and that eventually she will die from the amount of bodies she's passing through her. And I guess, you know, yes, after the mom takes all the bodies out and the house, she, like, passes out for a little bit, but she doesn't, like, look bad. And also, that's a lot. And I get she's an adult, but she still is also very new to the power and the ability. So not only is she somehow able to do that much, but that physically it doesn't really look like it takes a huge toll on her. Yeah, she passes out, but then she wakes back up, and it, you know, like the daughter had like visibly like red eyes, like she looked like she was dying, and I felt like the mom didn't. And I just thought about that.
no, for sure.
I think it should have taken more of a toll on her. At least, like, I mean, have her pass out, but then, you know, wake up maybe with, like, red eyes, like, maybe make her look a little, like, sick. Like, that took a lot out of her.
Like, homegirl had to work for that.
Yeah. So, you are not Wanda.
You're not the Scarlet Witch.
You are not the Scarlet Witch. Anyways. Even then, Scarlet Witch had, you know, facial expressions, like, it's taking a lot out of her. So it's like, you don't get to not do that, you know?
Yeah.
So, it's not like huge complaints, but they're definitely there, and they definitely do take off points for me.
And I think in the way that it starts really strong,
Yeah.
and then towards the end is where you really start seeing these issues come up.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's almost like they had a beginning and they had an end. And then they were like, and then we just, you know, have to mash these two things together.
Yeah.
And it feels like the mash is where it doesn't super come together.
Yeah. I agree. There's definitely a quality difference there. But I think, half of this movie at least is still pretty dang good, and so that's puts it definitely on the higher side of this franchise. If this was someone's new favorite, I don't think that is crazy. Yeah. I think this is one of the better ones. Like I said, I still think it's worth to see in theaters for sure. It's pretty short. It's less than 2 hours, and so just go see it. Our theater was not crowded at all for the longest time. We were the only ones there, and then, like, one couple showed up maybe right before the trailer started. Yeah. Can we talk about sidetrack? Can we talk about the amount of, like, there was like one bad trailer, and I'm like, do something else, play something better, and then like the next 3 trailers were all bad. It was like Whale Fall, a horror movie I don't even remember.
Other Mommy?
Well, that one was one of the better ones. I don't know. It was like 3 in a row where I can't even remember them because they're bad. Then the Resident Evil trailer hit, and I'm like, thank you. Ugh. So hyped
Whale
for that
Fall
one.
I'm very interested by, because I've heard that was on the anticipation list, and I was like, J.J. Abrams gets eaten by a whale? Interesting.
JJ.
Nope.
Nope. Austin Abrams.
Austin
I believe.
Abrams.
Yeah. I was like, wait, that's a director.
No, try again.
Try again. Say something else.
And I'm like, this guy is awesome when he's having the worst day, playing a character who's having the worst day of his life. So
I mean, yeah.
I can't wait to find out what that whale's a metaphor for. And then I fear I could be very locked into it. I just don't know how that's a whole like what you're in a whale the entire time. I fear no, we get flashbacks. We're gonna get growth. He's gonna get over trauma in that whale. If Pinocchio can do it.
No, I fear it's giving like Thrash, where it's like, oh, Phoebe Dever. I don't know how to say her last name. Anyways, Daphne from Bridgerton. It's like, oh my god, she's in it. Ooh, this movie's not good. I feel like it's giving that. Like, I'll love him, but I'm not gonna like anything else. I mean, I might be wrong, but that's kind of what it's giving to me.
I think it's gonna have a lot more character work than Thrash did. I think it's gonna be better.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Anyways, so do we want to rank these movies?
Let's do it. I have a pretty like clear ranking. Like I would not switch these out. I don't think. I can't see myself doing that. You want me to go first?
Go for it.
I'm just gonna list them all 6 in order from bottom to top. I have Insidious Chapter 3. Then I have Insidious The Last Key. Then I have Insidious Chapter 2. Then I have Insidious The Red Door. Then I have Insidious Out of the Further. And then I have the original Insidious.
Crazy.
So.
And that is exactly mine as well.
Okay. Yeah, the first one I have like 4 stars. I think Out of the Further I rated 3.5. The Red Door was still 3. And then Chapters 2 and The Last Key were 2.5. And 3 was 2.
You know,
So,
we've talked a lot about these,
pretty
about
clear.
our favorites. Maybe a quick recap on some quick thoughts on these other 3. Chapter 2, I think would be, I love the mystery of the black dressed bride.
Mm-hmm.
But Patrick Wilson playing possessed person doesn't work for me in this one. He's just like not trying to hide that he's possessed, and he's doing it really badly. He's like, "What do you mean I'm possessed?"
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I agree. I think they take too long to like figure it out because it's.
He's like,
it's
"What do you
pretty
mean our
obvious.
house is haunted?
Yeah.
We just fixed that." What are we doing?
No.
The last
Say
key.
something else.
Yes. The Last Key, I love our demon, and it
Yeah.
has a really interesting twist about halfway through. And that's it.
I like the concept of the keys. I don't think they were kind of like this one. I think, where Out of the Further executes its new concepts and lore much better. I don't think The Last Key vibes as much.
I don't know. And all of the new characters they try to add feel needless.
Yeah.
It's just a weird one.
Wasn't for me.
And then Insidious Chapter 3. Whenever me and our friend Abby watched this for the first time, when she sees the guy waving in the street and then immediately gets hit by a car, that is one of the hardest times I've ever laughed at a movie. It was just so unserious, and we played it back like 5 times. Because what the hell is happening? Who is that? Why did this person not see you standing in the street when you're standing there for like 2 minutes? Why did this person want to kill you with their car?
Yeah.
What?
It's giving it would be really funny to like as an edit to like what you say. That would be actually I like need to learn how to make that edit, please. Or somebody do it and then send it to me, please. I'll like love you forever because that seems like a very funny concept.
Dude, that movie's so silly.
Yeah. And then the Red Door, I feel like something that didn't work for me as much. Like I do think there's a lot of good here. Like I really like him and his roommate, Dalton and his roommate. I think are a fun duo there. I love how she just like, obviously she just like reacts perfectly to everything.
Yes.
Like she is scared and like nervous about all the right things, but then
She has like an
believes it and
interesting
locks in.
fascination, and then is like, whenever she's like, no, I think I'm done with this now, it's like at the very appropriate time.
Yes, absolutely. What a real one. And then I just feel like I am not a huge fan of Dalton and his dad just fighting. Like I understand they don't have the memories of something that bonds them and it's driven them apart. Patrick Wilson's character, you know, like he doesn't remember a lot, and so there's a lot of burden on him, but he doesn't remember why, and he's not getting therapy. I don't know.
The idea that he's just alone and like away from his family for so long, and his wife who knows everything that happened
Yeah.
is now ex-wife and like not helping him through that.
Yeah.
That just feels super bizarre to me.
It does. It feels out of character, and I don't want to like put everything on her, but I do feel like there's something missing there. Like what seems like what could have happened is that she did try to work through them, but it's like at what point do you keep this lie and get a divorce?
No, that's
over
it.
this?
That's the thing. That's what's
like
really weird.
Why would you
This
not tell him something?
This choice is what's driving a wedge between you, but then
Yeah.
instead of like offering the choice to like resolve it, you're just like ending it and not telling him what happened.
Yeah. Like I understand maybe you don't want to tell him the full truth because you don't want him to know what his ability is and then have everything happen again. I get it. But like there's a way where you can tell him, "Hey, there's something that you're capable of that drove our family apart and almost like caused one of our kids to die. And so you had someone help you erase those memories. So I don't want to tell you what that is because I don't want it to happen again, but I want you to know like this is why you feel this way. And I don't want this to drive a wedge between us because you also chose to erase those memories to keep your family safe. And so if you're feeling this, like you need to go get help or something, or you need to talk to me about it or something. You need to talk about it. And so I just feel like we're missing some context there. And then it makes like her look bad because it's like, why haven't you done something about this? Because she probably has. And they just don't show it. And so it's like, what do we do as an audience but be frustrated by this?
And the separation between Dalton and his dad feels like you're almost watching two very different movies that just come together at the very end.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I feel it. There's like a unique. Unlike any of the other movies, it's like two completely different things happening. Whereas all of the other movies are like one plot.
Yeah.
And this is like plot A, plot B, and then they merge into a plot AB.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it also feels like Dalton has a bit of a middle school teenage brattiness to him that doesn't make sense for what age he actually is in this movie. He's in college. Why are you acting like this? Why are you being this petty? I don't know. Well, also, your dad does kind of suck in this movie. So it's just a very big disconnect that I feel like we're missing a lot of context on.
Here's the missing context. His dad was kind of horrible in the first movie.
It's just, I don't know. I feel like there was more flashbacks to be had there, and it's not a long enough movie to excuse not having that. So, there you go. Just make your movies a little bit longer, people. It's not going to take that much.
Yeah.
So,
Silly.
anyways.
But overall, how do you feel when they announce the next one?
If they do, because this one's
Still.
not doing
Sure.
well. You know, I would just kind of, I think you would need to give me a pitch. Are you going to keep the same people? Probably not. And so, who's it going to be? Because again, I think I would feel the same way until they have a trailer. It's like, okay, they've had new people and it's been really bad, but now we at least have this new one, which has been overall pretty good. And so the cast, I don't think would do a whole lot for me. I think I would need to see a trailer, and then it would also really help to eventually see that Rotten Tomato score, kind of like this one, because I think the trailer made me excited, and then the Rotten Tomato score solidified, like, okay, this is probably going to be at least a decent movie, one of the better ones, and then it was. So I think I'm definitely going to go see it. So yeah. We'll see.
Do you want to guess the reception?
Sure. Last time I saw it was at like a 67. Is it still at a 67, or did it? I know I got lower at some point, but then I also saw it higher at some point. Like you said, it's
Are
been
you talking
going back
the
and forth.
audience score?
No, critics.
Critics. Okay.
And then audience, I don't know. They didn't like the Red Door, but this one was, I thought, better. Maybe like a 80? I don't know.
So this one's critic score is currently at 60.
Oh, it did go down for sure.
Its audience score is at 71.
Okay. Not too bad.
That's all right.
It's okay. It's a
Um,
little harsh for audiences.
and the
but...
cinema score is out.
Oh. I'll say like a B.
It is at a C plus.
Okay. And, I mean, yeah, they usually are pretty harsh on horror movies, so I guess I should have guessed a little lower.
I'm curious. Hold on. I want to look up what the other Insidious movies did.
But, what can you do?
B plus, B
alright.
plus, B minus, C plus, C plus.
Huh. It's definitely on the lower end. So
Chapter 3 getting a B plus. What are we doing?
That's the highest?
Yeah. Chapter 3 and Chapter
That's
2
crazy.
being higher than the first one.
Well, and that's where I'm further justified and will always be that cinema score is low-key kind of stupid.
Well, cinema score is such a snapshot in time, and it doesn't change after its first weekend. So it's interesting. Unlike the other things which can move as perception changes at least a little. I don't know. It's weird.
Well, just always remember that cinema score of Hereditary, and you can invalidate cinema score all you want. So, there you go. It's just because people, I think, sometimes talk about cinema score as if it's more valid than, like, Rotten Tomato scores. And I disagree. I actually think Rotten Tomato scores is usually more accurate to me than cinema scores. I tend to agree with them a little bit more.
And let me see.
And
if
they both
we
have crazy hot takes
balance
sometimes,
on
but
this.
don't we all? I'm kind of interested to see what this does box office wise, though.
So
'Cause I feel
current
like it's probably not that good.
right now we only have domestic, and that
Yeah.
is currently at 10.6 million.
Does it say what the budget was for this movie?
Budget was 18 million.
Okay, that's not bad. That's not bad. You know, I still don't think it's gonna break even. I don't know, because I don't feel like this is probably gonna do a lot international. I don't think a lot of horror movies usually do a lot internationally. If they even go internationally. So I don't see it going much higher. Especially after the reception, and like any diehard fans would go the first weekend, most likely.
I am gonna lock in 25 mil.
I was thinking that. I guess I'll go a little lower. I'll go like 22 mil. I was thinking exactly 25, so I'll do a little lower because I'm not going higher, but I'll do a little lower.
Yeah. So,
okay.
huh?
Well, not too bad for this movie. It's not necessarily like they're not gonna make another one, but they might just might not make one for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I might sneak up on it. I feel like this one snuck up on us a
You know-
little bit.
You know another thing about this one, actually? Watching this right after Evil Dead Burns, I feel like it's really unfortunate for this movie. Because Evil Dead is coming back in a big way that I think has never been, like, more cinematic and, like, character-driven.
Well, even the most recent Conjuring movie everyone loved, so this definitely did not have that same impact. So I don't know.
Certainly not. It's very interesting because it comes from a very similar, like, fan.
Place? Yeah.
Yeah. Its inspiration is very similar.
Yes. And then this year has been such a great year for horror movies, obviously with Obsession and even Backrooms. You know, obviously there's a little more mixed reception on Backrooms, but I still think general consensus is that it's pretty good. Yeah. Leviticus, a lot of people are talking about. Even like the ones that people may not like as much, like Passengers and Undertone, like I think people still talked about. Hokum is another one that was a very limited release, but the ones who have seen it are saying it's really good.
Mm-hmm. I
So,
don't know.
I don't know.
I feel this is gonna be on the lower end of horror for the year, which is
For sure.
I don't know.
Anyway,
What you gonna do?
but I still stand by, like, I would go see it in theaters personally, but you do what you want.
Yeah. What?
You have free will.
Alrighty, I think that is going to wrap up our conversation today. Thank you guys so much for listening. What is your favorite Insidious movie? And where does this place in your ranking? We'd love to hear that in the comments below. And until next time, I'm your host, Luke.
And I'm your host, Alicia.
And thank you so much for watching Not So Straight Nerds.